It was just a personal challenge for me, how to make an attractive, affordable home, and I wanted to see how the shipping containers accommodated that.
So you have two containers there. The central part is also a container or not?
No, I just connected the two. So in the back side, it's a 40-foot container all the way across, and then I popped the doors off of these two 20-footers and then backed them up in there. This is just corrugated tin, just on a horizontal. I was looking to keep my costs down at this point, but still kind of keep that look. And corrugated was affordable, and rather than, this is south facing right here, we wanted, windows. So we could have brought this all the way out flush, but we set this whole area back to basically allow for shade and a deep overhang so that they could sit out here and enjoy it without getting pummeled by the sun. There's absolutely no windows or doors on the western side. Hello. So this is one 20-foot container starting right out there and going all the way to this corner. And we pop the doors off. This is a 40-foot container that's going all the way back here. And the doors are open outside, and we just built a wall with the doors open and made it so that the doors stay open so we don't break the glass or anything like that. And so it's continuing over here and goes all the way back through here, basically to this back wall. And then this is another 20-foot container. So it's basically, if you imagine a U shape, the bottom part of the U is the 40-foot container and the two legs are these 20s. So this is the master suite. And I used the space of two containers turning. So I took the doors off of this 20-foot container before it came in here.
Where does it end?
Right here.
Okay.
So this is part of the skeleton of the 20-foot container where they met. And I wanted to give them more closet space. It also kind of created, I hate to call it a vaulted ceiling, but it does have this psychological effect of coming through an 8-foot high shipping container and then going into this. It just psychologically just opens it up a little bit more. Then I basically just enclosed the space within here. I wanted to open it up, and this was the gathering space. This was the common area. Just because the bedrooms were so small.
So you kept the kitchen, it's one of the containers, right?
Yeah, we're inside a 40-foot container that goes this way.
Okay. And you divided it looks like.
Yes, yeah.
But you can see here, there's a difference in size, the 40-foot and the 20-foot.
Oh yeah, this is a high cube. The 40-footer was a high cube, and the 20s were regular. So this was just kind of another little dining area, another common area.
Because there's a container that's...
Right, so we had to pop the doors off of these two 20-foot containers. So we took the doors off and then just butted this one up against the other one. Then we cut a hole through here so we could have a little pass-through. Yeah, just make it interesting, yeah. I've seen some pictures of container homes that are just like box, 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 and it just... There's so much, it's like Legos, like you can play with them and do some interesting things, and why not? You can imagine a semi-truck with a shipping container coming through here. That's the most stressed I've been in a long time, is trying to figure out if a 40-foot shipping container was going to be able to come down this road. There was a guest house right here that burned down. I came out here, looked at the site, and it was just a big burned mess with the slab still intact. The thought was, if you've already got a slab, it spreads the load out. You don't have to pour another foundation. I had been thinking about a container home already. This was 2009, post-Katrina, so I'd been thinking about what happened with Katrina was all these homes were gone, but the slab was still there. You can just plop it down right on top. You've just saved, $10,000 or $20,000 on the footing. And my design, I needed 40 feet because I wanted to put a 40-footer in the back. And it was 36 feet. I said, oh, that's perfect. But there's still some burn marks on the slab over here. So actually the only thing I really had to do concrete-wise, there was a little jog in the existing foundation, which was actually perfect for me because I could have all my plumbing drops back here. Yeah, the slab ended here and then went in about 5 feet, so that enabled me to have all my plumbing right here, the bathrooms right here, tankless water heater. This is the geothermal system right here. When they decommission them, you can see they spray painted some of the numbers off. That's part of the decommissioning process. Clarke was actually very upset about that. I was like, you want me to paint some back on? One gigantic advantage that I had with the shipping container home is that I didn't lose any downtime. So I had 3 months to build it. It rained the day I got the roof on, then it rained for 6 weeks in a row. That would have shut me down in conventional building. And so I was able to get it in the black, get it weatherproof, get the roof on and the windows in so that I could continue working within 3 weeks. So that was crucial. That's like, to me, that was the best advantage of the whole thing. There was a lot of learning curve involved with the shipping containers. How do we flash windows? How do we get a regular window into this corrugated tin and make sure that water doesn't come in and things like that? Because of the corrugation, it's already, I think there's about an inch or a little over an inch difference. And so, you know, last thing you want is water getting in. And so we had to kind of think of things differently. And I just figured it was a box made out of metal. I could do whatever I wanted with it. It was waterproof. And so I didn't really know what I didn't know. I just said, well, I'll figure it out. It was not easy taking the floors out of a shipping container. You know, we definitely wanted to anchor the 4 corners into the slab. I think we took the whole floor out of one, and it took too long. And so we ended up just cutting some tracks out and then putting in new flooring where we cut the tracks out. The first house burned down, so the homeowner said, this is all going to be dependent on what State Farm gives us. The first word that they got was going to be a claim to the tune of $175, $180. When I was 2/3 of the way through the project, they came back at $95. They really wanted an outdoor shower here, and I was going to recycle the water and do that, but I wasn't. We just ran out of money once State Farm reduced the claim amount. But yeah, I think we welded them open. But they wanted a little privacy here, and it was kind of for that reason. So. And then, you know, I really didn't have to do much interior framing of like interior walls. I didn't have the foundation, so I saved a lot of money in that regard. Kind of had this area envisioned as kind of a, you know, extra loft. But when I built it, I had to sign an affidavit that said that I built it according to code, and I couldn't get a stairway up there. Over here, this worked. I just got a cheap old ladder and drilled it into the side of the wall. I called up the city inspector and I said, hey, is this gonna fly? I mean, I need to have access to the mechanical room. And he said, doesn't have to be stairs, as long as it's permanently fixed. That's the only thing that matters. And so I was like, well, 2 screws and it's pretty much permanently fixed. We wanted the doors to kind of look like a container, so we matched up the color. Just a basic galley kitchen. I did these countertops. This is zinc. All of this was like as low cost as possible. And so I said, well, if you're okay with the French country look, where you see coffee cup stains and that kind of things, it's gonna age well. But some people don't like that. Some people want like a clean stainless look. The Vent-A-Hood just goes straight out the back. That was about the easiest Vent-A-Hood I've ever installed. And then rather than have upper cabinets, she wanted open shelves, and I thought it was brilliant. And so basically just had to find a way to support this, and it was a little different. I think I actually, before any of the interior went in, I went ahead and drilled these holes and dropped these wires down through. So for a long time, everybody kept running into them, like, why did they do that?
So drilling holes is just drilling a hole into metal.
Yeah. You know, you just have to get the right bit. So this is, we're inside a shipping container now, but just to insulate it, I did have some concerns about it sweating. So I backed off the 2x4 studs about 1.5 inches and built a wall inside here, and then filled it, the whole cavity full of spray foam insulation, and then sheetrocked it. I mean, I could have done something else other than sheetrock, but it kind of balanced the hard look of the containers. You know, one of the challenges is how to design around this narrow width. It's a design challenge, and so I made this conscious decision. I wanted this room to be open, that, look, the bedrooms are for sleeping and reading and relaxing, and they don't need to be big. So tiny little bedroom, well, it's still comfortable, you know, it's a good place to just sleep or read. This other bedroom was pretty much the same. If you want to hang out, you can hang out in the kitchen or in the main common area. So it's basically just kind of like a berth.
And you decided to keep the roof as well, container.
Yeah. You can see, this is me right here, and this was basically my method to attach dead wood so that I could build a roof on top of this. You still see nuts and bolts here and there. You could take the ceiling out. I mean, you can carve on these pretty easily, but it is a challenge when you take the doors off. You know, typically you can, if you leave the doors on and you don't touch the skeleton of the container and you just cut the skin within reason, like if you had a 40-foot container, you couldn't take 35 feet out of one side without some problems. But since I did take the doors out, I think I did have to put some headers in and that kind of thing. Like over here, this had to be supported, you know, basically back behind here. This had to be supported, so studs are here and then a header going across, just to kind of keep the structural integrity. This was the old hinge system right there. While the containers were being delivered, we had to pop the doors off. That was nasty business, because this paint has zinc in it, but we had to do that before we pushed this one back in. We did that for both of these 20-foot containers. Then I had room for this pass-through here. Got a washer and dryer in here, stack unit. And so that's essentially the utility room. This is the bathroom. So I've got this, that shower.
That's great with a corgi.
And I kind of could do whatever I wanted to, so I figured I'd take it all the way. And the main thing was just making sure there weren't any sharp edges in there.
That kept it affordable as well?
Yeah, I spent maybe $800 on this shower. Normally it's like $3,500 for a shower. One of the problems with the home was that it was so well insulated that when they did a leaky door test, that's a test to see how much air infiltration there is, there was like hardly any. It was sealed that well, and so we had to introduce fresh air. So this is a timer for the bathroom vent fan, and it comes on every so often and pulls air. I had to kind of create a guerrilla method of bringing fresh air into the house. I wanted to be able to open this up for ventilation, because that's where all the heat collects. They are motorized, so you don't have to get a ladder up there to open up the windows.
One thing I like is that despite the fact that containers are boxes, so they need sometimes to be open in order to interpret like a bigger space, you manage in order to keep you sort of see the containers, but also everything is very open and you can walk through places.
It flows.
You don't feel
super cramped, right? I see so many mistakes in construction, you know, things that are just pointless, but it's just built into the way that we build things now, you know. That's kind of what I'm working on now in the background, is an entirely new system of building. I started thinking about it with shipping containers. If you can create a system easy enough, you know, a couple of knuckleheads could put it up over a couple of weeks, then that's a system I'm trying to work on.